Hello, I am Barendipitous, and I've been recording for a few hours now, going over all the BCX things. But for this video, I'm going to go over the other two. So I went over the "This is Brawlhalla" animation. It took me almost an hour to go over like frame by frame through the whole thing, and list all the references I could find. So that should be a good time if you haven't seen that already, and want to see just how jam packed with references and like legend appearances there are. I think I've caught most of them, almost all of them. I feel pretty sure. But anyway, today I'm going to do a 2-for-1 special here. I'm going to analyze the new Legend teaser trailer, Legend 68, the Lance Guitars legend that was revealed at BCX, and I'm also going to analyze the Attack on Titan trailer as well. I'm going to start with the Attack on Titan one because that one's just very short. I'm not going to have a lot to say on that one, but I did want to point out a lore reference or two that I did actually see in there, because even with the crossover trailers, basically the crossovers, by my understanding, in Brawlhalla are basically visitors. They're not like characters that have died to get into Valhalla. They're basically visiting from their own dimension, because Valhalla is connected to lots of other kinds of realms through the Fangwild Forest. I'll talk about the Fangwild in a little bit. So let's start with the Attack on Titan trailer. Okay. I should also mention, I have never watched or read Attack on Titan. I know pretty much nothing about Attack on Titan except that, it's about people in a city trying to protect themselves from these freaky muscle giant things that eat them. And it's a very popular anime. I'm sorry, I've watched other anime. I mean, come on. I've watched there's a Ascendance of a Librarian anime that I really liked. I've seen Kaguya Love is War. Of course, I love Studio Ghibli, movies and everything. Like, I just haven't seen a lot of the big anime, so sorry if that disappoints you, but I don't know the Attack on Titan lore. Actually, I don't know the lore on most of the crossovers. Like, I'm not very well versed in like Street Fighter lore or Walking Dead lore or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever. I think the lore I know the most about for a crossover is Star Wars and Shovel Knight. Anyway, but that's just me. I love all the crossovers. They're all fantastic. Let's move on to this trailer here. Again, I'm just going to play through the whole thing, and then I'll kind of go bit by bit to the few things I want to talk about. So, here we go. And that should be it. Yeah, so yeah, coming December 3rd. I love the logo here with the Titan kind of looking over the Brawlhalla logo wall thing. I do not know the names of these characters. I'm sorry. I don't have any predictions as to what legends they're going to be on. I'm just going to be excited about whatever legends they're going to have. I see a bunch of swords. I don't know, like more sword crossovers. Okay, so there's two big lore references that I want to point out here. Okay, and so what I love about these crossover trailers is that the Brawlhalla animators, they like to take what already exists in Brawlhalla lore and kind of see what parts of it are similar or maybe an analog to something in the crossover. For example, in the SpongeBob trailer, it actually takes place just outside of Miami Dome, because Miami Dome is a city submerged in the ocean, and SpongeBob lives under the sea, right? So, the fact that you see Miami Dome in the SpongeBob trailer, that's really cool. And so on and so forth, right? So here, we're in an enchanted blue forest. This is undoubtedly the Fangwild. I have seen a few very short clips of Attack on Titan. I'm aware that there are teams of people that go out and try to destroy these Titans before they can destroy the city. And so this must be a team maybe, what might have happened, maybe, actually here. This is my Thea Rising hat, because this is a hat based on Thea's Eternal Sports company, merch company. So this is my Thea Rising hat. So my theory here on what's kind of happening is that these characters from Attack on Titan went out on an expedition. The Fangwild Forest is, by my understanding, a magical forest realm that connects all the other realms. Rayman wandered into Valhalla through the Fangwild Forest. Same thing with Diane, Taros, as well as Bodvar and many others. So these three characters from Attack on Titan somehow accidentally wound up in the Fangwild looking for titans to destroy, and they see this thing. This thing, it might look like Red Raptor. It is not. It is Garuda. This is Red Raptor. The Garuda is the name of Red Raptor's mech. If you watch Red Raptor's trailer, you'll see that Garuda is destroyed in shambles thanks to a bunch of like Darkheart monsters, right? And then in that trailer, Red Raptor tears out the core of Garuda to fuel his, big punches and everything. And that core is actually anti-Darkheart, which is very interesting considering the Legend teaser later. So there actually is a little bit of a connection here. Red Raptor is very much connected to the Terminus Darkheart storyline. I'll give more details about that. So, so we have this Titan here, which is actually just Red Raptor's mech. Garuda. And we saw Garuda in the This is Brawlhalla trailer as well. But poor Garuda, I guess, keeps getting destroyed because we see these characters. Garuda is getting chased through the forest, right? And we see these three characters. Sorry, I just don't know the names. Just deal with it. These three characters go through, hop up and just absolutely slice through. Yep, just like that. They look so cool. Like it's just like from what I've seen of Attack on Titan, this is a good adaptation of Attack on Titan in the Brawlhalla style. Kind of like a cool blend between the two. So Garuda kind of like is destroyed or explodes or something. And that is the, explodes in blinding light, and that's the transition into the final splash screen for, Attack on Titan crossover December 3rd. Very soon. Very exciting. That's pretty much all I have to say. Basically, the trailer seems to take place in the Fangwild, and the Titan in question here is Garuda, which is Red Raptor's mech. Okay? So now, let's go into the Legend 68 teaser trailer. This is the Lance Katar's teaser. Before we get into this, I feel like again I am I'm sorry if you already know this, but I feel like for the benefit of those who don't, I feel like people should know the there's a little bit of a community lore behind this particular weapon pairing. Okay, so here we go. So if you go into the wiki, this is brawlhalla.wiki.gg, not fandom wiki, but this is wiki.gg. That's the one that's being maintained right now. There was an unreleased legend years ago. This is very, very early on. So between like Ember and Koji, when like Bo was brand new, there was a legend in the game files that was like partway through development. That legend was this character which was nicknamed Stalker. You can see more information here. Stalker might not have been the legend's actual name. It might have just been sort of maybe like an archetype name or like a code name of some kind. But along with this image of Stalker here, there were other files of and she was a Lance Katar's legend. And there are some files of various potential signatures that she could have had. All of this like very, very early stuff, right? In 2019, however, her all these files were removed from the game files, so she's not in the game anymore. But she was in there for years, right? Stalker's code was added to the game files in June 17, 2015, when Brawlhalla was still in its private beta. And so I think because it was in there and it wasn't until 4 years later that all of the Stalker stuff was removed from the game. So you can imagine that it kind of became this sort of like urban legend almost sort of a thing, or like this elusive thing where people keep asking about people keep asking for a Lance Katar's legend and they want Stalker back. Now personally, I will say my personal take, I think I kind of understand, but I never quite cared whether Stalker was in the game or not, because if especially if you watch any of the dev panels that have to do with art and conceptualizing a legend from beginning to end, there are like dozens upon dozens of concepts that are created, considered, and scrapped. That's just part of the process. This just happens to be a case where a legend was got pretty far into development, but ultimately, for whatever reason, I'm not entirely sure, but the developers just didn't go all the way through with that. They had some kind of concept in mind, but I guess they just decided to go with something else, with Koji, I guess, at the time. But if you want more information, by the way, there are other Brawlhalla YouTubers have made videos about Stalker. I know Kozilix has, and a few others have as well. If you want to know all the details about Stalker, just search Brawlhalla Stalker Legend or something like that, or just Brawlhalla Stalker, and you should be able to find some videos talking more about that. So I wanted to give that context. I feel like that context is kind of important for this particular Legend teaser because of the weapon combo, Lance Katars. Those are Stalker's weapons. And there are even a lot of people in the Lore Book Club that have been really wanting Stalker, right? And actually, I was working with several people in the Lore Book Club to kind of potentially create our own like fan-made lore for Stalker. I need to get back on that project. I'm very sorry, everyone, for taking so long on that one. But anyway, it's just kind of this fun little thing, right? I will say also that there was a time like earlier this year when I asked one of the developers about Stalker, or maybe like we were talking about Stalker, and they basically said like, yeah, Stalker's just not really gonna happen. Like don't bet on it at all, basically. And I kind of figured Stalker's basically a scrapped legend, and as much as Stalker has like her own like group of fans, or their own group of fans, I basically accepted that we're not going to get Stalker. That being said, with that context in mind, I do have a couple of theories here, and I just realized I forgot to bring up an image that I want to reference later if I can find it. Okay. Yeah. I think I found it, and I'll be able to reference it later. Perfect. Okay. So, yeah. So that's all the stuff about Stalker. So now let's watch this trailer, and then I'll kind of like analyze what's going on with it, because there's some interesting things happening.
Odin Actual, are you copying this? Roger that, Odin Squad. What was that? Quiet. Keep it tight. Isaiah, move up. It's big, whatever it is. Contact!
Yeah, so, Lance Katars, that's pretty hype. It should also be noted that the silhouettes for the weapons, as well as for the legend itself, I'm pretty sure they're based on existing assets. I think these are based on there is a Darkheart weapon set in Brawlhalla. If you look in the store, in the in-game store, you can get each of the weapons in a Darkheart style. The purple and red, like a stony look. So there's that. And then the silhouette that you see in this gameplay, I'm pretty sure it's one of the Onyx skins, right? So, I don't, and you can see it's actually using the Darkheart Lance and the Darkheart Katars. So this kind of shows how much this is like in development. The devs have in mind what they want to do. It's just like the art assets are not there. So they're using the existing assets to kind of help show the concept. Now they've done something like this before, definitely. They've done this for Volkov a number of years ago. They've done this for 7 at BCX 2023, I think, where you could like try out the legend, like the weapons, and you could potentially see part of the concept, but you don't know much more than that, but you get to try it out right there, which is fun. So let's but I think this is probably one of the first times that a legend teaser like this happened. It might not be the first time, but it seems rare that an actual animated teaser is part of the reveal, which is actually pretty cool. And there's some lore here. So let me explain Darkheart and Terminus for a little bit. So I think the best way to get a feel for Terminus is well, two ways. Number one, Petra is the character that is most associated with Darkheart. Darkheart, like I said, is this well, in my previous video I said Darkheart is this dangerous volatile ore that exists only in Terminus, and Terminus is the only place in the multiverse where Darkheart exists. Okay, and there's various dimensions and everything, but it's basically cosmic contraband, and so if you touch Darkheart, it could be very dangerous. In fact, I even have some Darkheart right here, this purple ore that was used as a prop for the Autumn Championships back in 2024, which is fun. I only touch it with gloves. It's not actually it's actually just like harmless, like quartz or something like that, but it's fun to pretend. It's whatever. Anyway, if you want to know more information about Darkheart, though, if you go to Brawlhalla.com, you see Battle Pass here. Go to Season 8. This is a Terminus themed Battle Pass, and this was really cool. When this Battle Pass was out, there was just like all these cool scientific files about the different items in the Battle Pass. You can click around, and you need to wait a minute for everything to load, but everything is kind of like typed in. You can even click have multiple windows open at once. It's really cool. This website thing that they made is really cool. And yeah, the scientific logs are kind of like build and everything. But Terminus is just kind of this sort of like place where all these legends from across dimensions are like banished, and Loki is there experimenting with Darkheart. Okay, and Petra was born here. By the way, I did make videos about this whole thing, like when this was new. But if you keep scrolling more and more, you'll get a secret message from Loki. If you want to know more, either check this out yourself or check out my videos about Brawlhalla Battle Pass 8. I should have a playlist about it, like about the Terminus Battle Pass. But anyway, that's how you can learn a lot more about Terminus. And of course, there is a Terminus map as well in the game. So this is one version of it, right? And you can see it's just like really topsy-turvy, really like rundown punk kind of thing, right? So there's that. Now I'm going to play the first little bit of the animated teaser because there's some voices here that are very interesting.
Odin Actual, are you copying this? Roger that, Odin Squad. What was that? Quiet. Keep it tight. Isaiah, move up. It's big, whatever it is. Contact!
Okay.
Odin Actual, are you copying?
All right. So, another lore nerd forwarded a little transcript that they made. I think this was Lorraine who did, or Botam who did this, or someone else. But what they have is like Odin something, Odin actual, or something like that. Odin action something. Are you copying this? Roger that, Odin squad. What was that? Quiet. Keep it tight. Isaiah, move up. It's big, whatever it is. Contact. That's basically what we've got here. I can't quite catch that Odin actual something.
Odin Actual, are you copying this? Roger that, Odin squad.
Oh, did I mute or something? What's going on?
Odin Actual, are you copying this? Odin Actual, are you copying this? Odin Actual, are you copying?
I don't know what's going on.
Odin Actual, are you copying this? Roger that. Odin Actual, are you copying this?
Odin.
Odin Actual, are you copying this?
Huh. Anyway, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that says. It might be some kind of like code word for the squad or something like that. But interesting, Odin squad. We've never really heard that before. And then we also heard Isaiah being mentioned. Isaiah is like a special ops soldier that would probably be in charge of like missions like this. And it looks like they are.
Roger that, Odin squad. What was that? Quiet. Keep it tight. Isaiah, move up. It's big, whatever it is. Contact.
So it looks like they're actually in Terminus for some reason, because you got Darkheart all over the place. Like you see it through night vision goggles, first of all, but then here, yeah, we see all this dark heart ore poking out. We're like in the depths of Terminus, and there's this monster lurking around in here. So with this footage, it sounds like potentially Odin might have sent out a squad of legends to check out something that's going on in Terminus. With Isaiah maybe leading it or being part of it, like helping to scout it out or whatever. Very interesting. Very interesting lore implications there. Odin has always been wary of what Loki is up to. Loki essentially is like meddling with different dimensions and experimenting with Darkheart and transforming creatures with Darkheart to try to prevent Ragnarok from happening. Also, the Darkheart monsters in Red Raptor's trailer that destroyed Red Raptor's like home and his friends, that's Loki's fault. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on with this. There's a lot of open-ended stuff going on with this Darkheart Terminus narrative. We've gotten so much information from Battle Pass 8 and even a bit in Battle Pass 11 and also with Red Raptor and Loki's lore, but it sounds like this new legend is going to bring a bit more, okay? The signatures don't tell me a whole lot. Actually, okay, well, because it's just kind of like, big like spikes and like, hits and everything like that, right? But what's interesting to me is in these trailers, usually the legend that is being beat up is not a coincidence. It's usually related in some way. So here, the new legend is beating up Loki, and Loki, Terminus is basically like Loki's base, essentially. Loki was trapped there for a while. A lot of stuff going on there. We have another Terminus skin. This is the Terminus skin, Mordex skin. Interesting. In the Apocalypse map and all that. So once again, another reference to Terminus and Darkheart. This skin is called Termidex specifically. So we got that explosion of Darkheart spikes, I'm guessing. Here, beating up core, the construction core. So it's probably more like like construction zone sort of a thing, right? That's probably kind of more what it's what's going on there. Dealing with like construction machines. That is a really cool signature, by the way. Just like grabbing by the spike and with the lance and like tossing. That's a cool idea. That's really cool. Let's see. Anything else? Okay, so we're in this arena from like the graphic novel. Oh, Petra, once again. Okay. Once again, all these are related to like either Terminus or the Terminus Battle Pass or things you would find in Terminus. Like the construction equipment or the scientific equipment or things like that, right? So fighting Petra in an arena, right? The volcano arena, the volcano type arena. Was there any more? Let's see here. No, it's just kind of yeah, okay. So yeah, so what do I make of this? What do I think the lore might be for this legend? Here is the time for me to put on my theorizing hat. I have a couple of theories, okay? So, theory number 1. This could be its own thing. That has definitely happened before. There have been times where I thought that maybe Bryn's mother, Hypernia, is going to become a legend. No, it's Thea, a demigod from Mount Olympus, which is also really cool. Maybe it could be Baron von Evilstein with his mind uploaded to a computer. No, it's Seven, the Dieselheart engineer. And she's connected with Barraza and all that kind of stuff, right? There have been multiple times where I was thinking, theorizing, and hoping, honestly, that the new legend would be maybe a character we've seen in lore. And that has happened before, but it doesn't happen very often. And so I'm inclined to think that it's very possible that this new Lance Katar's character could just be its own thing, related to Darkheart, related to Terminus, certainly, but probably not as, like... Probably not answering as many questions as we might think, which is just fine. Now, I feel like that's fairly likely. However, I have a couple of other theories that still feel kind of likely, actually. So, first of all, I talked about Stalker. Um, I think it'd be really, really cool and kind of funny if somewhere in the Legends lore the word stalker was used. Could just be an adjective like, the Darkheart Stalker or something like that, and it actually goes by a different name, just as a little Easter egg, right? Just as kind of like the devs saying, yeah, this is Lance Guitars, this is where Stalker was, but now we have this monstrous Stalker type character or whatever. I don't know. So I would love if the devs did that. Although I think it would also be really cool if this actually was Stalker mutated by Darkheart. Okay, so I mean, like, I just think it'd be a really, really fun idea. I think it'd be really fun, and it would honestly come full circle. It'd be a really, really cool bit of closure if Stalker had basically mutated both in lore and as an artistic concept into this new legend. I think that would just be like the best case scenario for what we have right now regarding Lance guitars and everything like that, right? I would love that. Another thing that I think would be really cool is potentially, what if it is Lance Star Champion mutated by Darkheart? Okay, hear me out here. If you don't know who Lance Star Champion is, he's a character in lore that is mentioned in a couple of lore, in Vrax's lore and Artemis's lore. He's basically kind of like this like space hero kind of guy, but he's been thwarted by Artemis, and I don't know if he's been defeated by Vrax, but he's kind of like been in a Luke Skywalker stuck with Darth Vader and the Emperor and Emperor Palpatine kind of situation with Vrax, and like back against the wall sort of a thing. So Lance Star Champion is this kind of like this sci-fi hero, this space fantasy hero in the lore, but we've never really seen him until perhaps the graphic novel. Actually, let me show you something. Okay, so the only visual clue that we've ever gotten for Lance Star Champion was an avatar in Battle Pass 5, and it was this avatar right here. Okay, this avatar right here, LS, Lance Star Champion. Okay, this is the only image that we've gotten up to this until recently. This is the only image we got of Lance Star Champion. This looks like kind of like a promotional poster. Very much looks like what I might expect of a heroic space hero from like ray gun gothic era, like early comic book era and things like that. However, in the graphic novel, and so keep the so keep these designs and these colors in mind, especially that upside down star, because if we turn to my favorite spread, my favorite 2-page spread in the whole comic book here, okay? All right, this one where Nyx is seeing Brawlhalla and there's all these different references and everything. Let me see if I can try to point them out here. Okay, so do you see? Let me make my camera bigger, actually. Okay, so do you see this guy right here? Okay, so Nyx is walking around in Brawlhalla. There's all these different references. I've made a video before about all the references I could find on this page, but this guy here, he doesn't look like any guy we've seen in any trailer or anything in the game. I wonder, and so he's got this weird kind of like mask thing on, and if you look here where his knees are, he's got those upside down stars with the teal color, right? So I just and with the blonde hair and everything, I feel like that has to be Lance Star Champion. But he's in like a robe. He's all bruised. He's all covered up and everything. Maybe he just came from a battle or something. But what happened to you, man? Like what the heck happened to you? Are you good? Like what the heck? What happened? So I feel very confident that is Lance Star Champion in the graphic novel. Okay. Now, why do I think that this new legend could be Lance Star Champion? I mean, we see him in the graphic novel there, right? He doesn't look like a monstrous Darkheart kind of creature, right? Let me draw your attention real quick to the Terminus map, okay? Now, in this version of the map, Can you potentially, I don't know if we can zoom in, can you potentially see this thing right here? Oh gosh, here. Can you see this thing right here? Okay? This is the Lance Star Champion avatar. This is that same exact image. But it's like a poster that's been there for a long time and just kind of all like beaten and torn and everything like that, right? There's no, as far as I can tell, I mean, there's a bunch of graffiti. Like we got the Incarnates, that's the name of Petra's gang, and we got other symbols that refer to other like things in Battle Pass 8. There's nothing about Lance Star Champion in Battle Pass 8. There's nothing. There is nothing to indicate there would be any connection between Lance Star Champion and Terminus or Darkheart. So why, in the actual frick, is this here? I've been wondering that for for over a year, because this thing has just been taunting me this whole time, and so all I could really say up till now is that Loki's been grabbing legends and characters, heroes and villains from all kinds of dimensions, right? It wouldn't be crazy to think that Lance Star Champion was stuck in Terminus somehow, right? So if that's the case, and if Lance Star Champion has been experimented on with like brutal Darkheart experiments, who's to say he didn't somehow escape Loki's research facility and end up in some of these dark Darkheart caves, right? And who's to say that maybe Loki was aware of this? Maybe he told Odin about it. Maybe maybe something happened with Terminus, and Odin needed to send out a squad to see what was going on with this. This could be, I really think this could be Lance Star Champion, potentially. And yeah, he might look kind of normal, even though if beat up in the graphic novel. But we could be dealing with like a Hulk situation here, right? Maybe he's all beat up because he's recovering from Darkheart rage. Maybe that's why he's covered up by the robe, because we can see his normal face, we can see his gloved hands, and we can see his legs, right? But we don't see his back. We don't see his chest. We don't see most of his body or like most of his arms. Okay, why is he covering himself up like that? So, as much as I would love it to be Stalker, my prevailing theory is that this is Lance Star Champion. A kind of Darkheart Stalker, if you will. There have been many times where I've come up with crazy theories, especially when it comes to Darkheart. I once theorized that Orion is Loki, but corrupted by Darkheart, and that's why he had the armor. And then Loki released, and he's a totally different character from Orion. Whatever. That blew that whole PowerPoint presentation out of the water. But honestly, I'm feeling pretty good about this theory. And if it's not Lance Star Champion, I feel like at the very least it's its own. At the very least, it's its own thing, and the word Stalker is somewhere in the lore. Or even better, it's not Lance Star Champion, but it actually is Stalker, like some kind of like space elf mutated through Darkheart or something, right? I just either the Stalker theory or the Lance Star Champion theory. I would love both of them. I just feel like there's more support for the Lance Star Champion theory, personally. And honestly, this whole thing with Lance Star Champion appearing in the graphic novel, and then potentially, if he does end up being this legend, it would not be the first time that legends have been teased in... So that's the end of my theory, by the way. Well, actually, no. Sorry, this is part of my theory, yeah. So this is another like little bit of evidence to potentially support my theory, okay? This would not be the first time that a legend was teased in a piece of media. Okay, let me first of all trying to play a video here, and the video has an ad. Let me try to. Where did the video go? I'm looking for the 2020 Brawlhalla 2020 trailer. Okay, so what? Why am I having a hard time finding it? There it is. Okay, the animated short. Perfect. Found it. Okay, perfect. All right. So I just want to remind you that in 2020, we did not have Magyar. Okay? Greatsword was very new. I think Jaehyun might have been the only Greatsword legend at the time that this animated short was released. I think I did make a video already about this whole animated short. It's wonderful. So many wonderful references. Not as jam-packed as the This is Brawlhalla one, but I want to point out this scene here. There's lots of stuff that goes on here, but as we zoom out, when Brax's chair kind of like falls on Teros, if you look at the bottom here, you see Bryn is here. A character who might look maybe like Arcadia. We've got Sir Roland down here. Maybe this is Hypernia, perhaps. Bryn's mother, because, sitting next to Sir Roland. But we have this thing right here. This is undoubtedly, we know this is undoubtedly Magyar. This is Magyar's armor with the red scarf and everything like that. But in 2020, we did not know, we didn't, Magyar was not revealed. I think all we had was just Jaehyun. I'm pretty sure it was the only Greatsword legend we had. But Magyar was just right here, right under our noses, just as a throwaway side character right there. So it would not be too out of the question that the developers and the creators at Blue Mammoth Games actually teased a future legend with the graphic novel. And not necessarily the next legend, because since the graphic novel released, we've gotten like Lady Vera and Ransom and so forth. But a future legend, okay. So yeah, that's it. That's what I've got. That's my 35 minutes of rambling about this. Mostly about the Lance Guitars teaser, and giving more of the background there. So anyway, what do you think? Do you think any of my theories are correct? It sounds like we might. It sounds like this legend is pretty far in development. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, we'll get to see more. And I really look forward to reading the lore. Anytime a new legend is released, I make a whole video analyzing the lore and looking at all the connections. So look forward to that whenever that happens. So, but yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, all the best.